This is one of the rarest vehicles that I have ever seen. It's a vehicle so rare that only a couple thousand of them were built and only a few hundred sold in North America. It's a 1979 Rolls-Royce Silver Shadow 2.
Hey, what's going on, guys, and welcome back to the channel. Now today you're in for a real treat as I get to work on this beautiful 79 Rolls-Royce, so stay tuned to see how good I can get it looking and to learn a few things about this super rare car along the way.
Now, when the owner messaged me and asked if I'd like to detail the car, it was an immediate yes. Vehicles like this are exceedingly rare, let alone one that's in the condition this one is. Now, of course, the interior is the dirtiest part of the car, so there is a bit of work to do there, but the absolute coolest thing about this car is the story behind it, and I'll have more on that later in the video. But for now, make sure you're subscribed to the channel and hit that thumbs up button as we dive into the history of this incredible handmade British automobile. Okay, as I get to work on the car now, with the usual pre-wash rinse, you can pretty clearly see that the exterior isn't all that dirty, partly because the vehicle has been very well taken care of over its life, but also because it just isn't driven all that much. I'm going to dive into the history of this car a little bit later on, so for now, just excuse the not so dirty exterior and enjoy seeing what's likely a once-in-a-lifetime car for most of us. Now, as you might imagine, as I sprayed off the underside here, there wasn't any visible dirt that was being rinsed off, but that doesn't mean that I'm going to change my process here just because the car is fairly clean. I still need to do everything I usually do to ensure perfect results when I'm done. Alright, as I start on the wash process here, I figured it was a good time to share with you some of the history I do know about the car. So the moment I knew I'd be working on the car today, I did some research on Rolls-Royce and the Silver Shadow 2 in particular, and found that they only made 8,425 of them over its 4-year production run, with only a small fraction of these making their way to North America. I also found out that Freddie Mercury of Queen was often chauffeured around London in his Silver Shadow from 1979 until he died in 91. And that there have been several Silver Shadows featured in James Bond movies over the years, most notably when Q drove a Silver Shadow 2 in License to Kill. Okay, well, more so out of curiosity than anything, I wanted to use my iron remover here to see if the car was just washed often over its lifetime or if it was really taken care of well. And after spraying it on and leaving it sit for a couple of minutes, it became clear that there wasn't a single speck of iron contamination to be seen anywhere on the entire vehicle, which is a first for me, but honestly not surprising. Now with the exterior of this Rolls-Royce clean and dry now, I'll turn my attention inside, where I'll first start by removing these sheepskin floor mats. Yes, you heard me right, they're genuine sheepskin, handmade by Paul Blanche of Manchester, and they are the thickest upholstery material I've ever seen used in any vehicle. Super soft and luxurious feeling, but boy does that make it easy for the dirt to get trapped deep down in the fur. So while I've never cleaned sheepskin before, I'm pretty hopeful that my usual process of some carpet solution, drill brush, pressure washer, and then extractor will have them looking brand new in just a couple of minutes. Moving on to the next layer of carpet that was underneath the sheepskin mats, and I'll follow the same process here as well, though this carpet has a really short pile in comparison that debris likes to stick to. Okay, opening up the huge trunk, or boot as the British would refer to it as, and most of what's in here besides a spare part or two are actually the service records for the vehicle over its life, along with service manuals and even a handwritten notebook from one of the previous owners documenting every trip he took with the car. I'll get into that in a bit more detail towards the end of the video, but let me tell you, it's absolutely incredible. Alright, well as I finish vacuuming out the boot here, I wanted to let you know that the new Yard Geek video is coming. I know some of you have been hounding me for it, and I've been doing my best to make it, but a lot of my spare time recently has been taken lately either doing work or filming things outside being done, and unfortunately there's only one of me, so as soon as I can find a few minutes, I will get it finished and out to you guys, so thank you for being patient with me. Okay, well as I vacuum around the rest of the car, I just wanted to say that it is very clear that Rolls-Royce builds a great vehicle. Compared to what I've seen for vehicles around this age, they are far superior in build quality, which isn't surprising as one of these Silver Shadow 2s was nearly $80,000 new back in '79, which is nearly $300,000 today. Now as I opened up the glove box here, I found a couple of really interesting things. One being the original manual that came with the car, and of course I had to take a quick skim through it because I'm the type of guy that when I get a new vehicle, I always read the manual front to back before I even drive the thing. And I found a couple of interesting things in this one that I'll show you later. But aside from that, I also found the bill of sale for the last couple times the car has been sold. Most recently, it was for $3,900 Canadian. It's crazy. Moving down to the vinyl floor that was underneath the buttoned-in carpet, and I'll be cleaning this area with some of my all-purpose cleaner and the steamer, which should have it looking fresh and new in no time. Getting to work on the leather now, which happens to be the most neglected part of the entire vehicle. Pretty much everything else in here is in fantastic shape, but the leather is really worn and cracked in lots of places, especially the driver's seat here, which also happens to be really dirty. So with my leather cleaner and brush, I'll quickly get the seats clean and prep for some conditioner. Okay, with the seats clean, it's time to use my leather conditioner, which of course you can find over on my website at detailgeekautocare.com. It's the perfect choice to protect leather or to nourish old aging leather like this, as it's infused with lanolin and beeswax to help hydrate and protect the leather, which was desperately needed in this case. And since nearly every bit of the interior of this car is leather instead of plastic, I'll also use it on the doors and dash as well. Alright, well after quickly claying the paint and not surprisingly finding it free of contaminants, I'll get some of my ceramic spray coating applied here, as I could tell during the wash stage that the paint was lacking protection and wasn't feeling very slick, so this will do just that and offer some gloss and hydrophobicity as well. Okay guys, well just before I show you how incredible the Rolls is looking, I wanted to take a peek at all the documentation that came with the car because it's truly incredible. First, it's got all 4 volumes of the service manual, which details step by step how to do all the maintenance on the vehicle. This one isn't terribly surprising though, because the guy who owned it from 2019 to 2022 was meticulous with his record keeping and did all of the work on the car himself. His name was Ron, and I suspect he's a major reason why the car is in the shape that it is. Besides that, and the owner's manual was another cool find. One of the most interesting things I found in here was the chapter on driving instructions and the detailed steps on how to start the engine. Seems like a pretty easy thing, but just reading through this really gave me the feeling that if you own a Rolls-Royce, you ought to have read the manual because these vehicles should be cared for well. Next up is Ron's little notebook where he kept a detailed record of pretty well every trip he took with the car, the mileage, and the fuel economy he got, every bit of work that he did to it, and he even had to-do lists for over winter when the car was in storage. I'm not sure about you guys, but I found this absolutely fascinating to be able to read through the entire history of a car like this, although I've saved what I think is the best for last. Besides Ron's notebook, the car also comes with all the original documentation from when it was ordered back in August of 1979 to when it arrived at the dealer in Palm Springs, California in February of 1980. From there, I can see that it was sold to an individual in Palm Springs, later sold to someone from Boca Raton, Florida, then it ended up in Colorado for about a decade, and then it finally from there made its way up to Canada, where someone in Calgary, Alberta owned it for several years before Ron bought it from them in 2019. From there, it was sold in 2022 for $5,000 Canadian, and then again in 2023 for $3,900. Truly incredible documentation for a vehicle with only 93,000 miles on it, and likely not something I will ever see again in my lifetime. Okay, enough talk about the car, it's time for the reveal.
All right, well, it took 9 hours to get the Silver Shadow looking as good as possible, but I'll be honest, it really didn't feel like work today. There's just something different about working on a high quality vehicle and, you know, something like a Rolls Royce that I'll probably never see again. So yeah, it was definitely an enjoyable one for me. Hopefully you guys enjoyed watching this video too, and if you did, make sure you smash the thumbs up button and subscribe to the channel. Go ahead and click on this video right there. I'm sure you guys will enjoy it, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.